This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. See how it works? Somewhere. Can you dig it?
And so just want you to know. Man, I looked at that smile on your face just now. And the first time I ever wished I was a photographer. To take that and let the world see that honesty and that integrity. And know some of the things I know, how you drive all over the country to chase us down. Chase us down. Okay? We move so fast. I don't know if you're married, I don't know if you're a family, I don't know if you're a wife. Okay? But when we get on here, we bosom friends. Anytime I see you, I stop whatever I'm doing. Hey, my man, how are you? Hey. Hey, man, what, that's, I owe that to you. It's an obligation that you have. How old are you?
Oh, 36.
So you don't have the right to do what 36 people do. You don't have the right to go to the dance or go to the party. You don't have a right to take that trip to Europe when I might need that plane fare to fly somebody else to feed my people that love me. You feed them. Oh, it's one thing being hungry from food.
Right.
There's another thing being hungry for information.
That's right.
And that's you, the feeder. You got to be the farmer. You got to grow the crop. Huh? You got to till the grain. And at nighttime, when you hear something that sounds like water, you got to go and see if the crop's going to be flooded. That's your job, man.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that jingle review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace. Guess who's back? It's Brother Ron. Back, Brother Ron. Guess who's back? Back again. Brother Ron. Tell a friend. Guess who's back and still black? Guess who's back and still black, man? Black, don't come back, but you do come back. It's Brother Ron. We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Had to come to y'all. It's so much stuff going on. All eyes on Memphis. All eyes on Memphis, man. Memphis is in the news on a consistent basis for whatever reason. Skip. Uncle Shannon. Unc showed out for LeBron. Unc showed out more for LeBron than LeBron showed out for Kyrie. Shannon got the smoke for black folk. Shannon Sharp got that smoke for black folk. Hey, skip. Run. King James. He was trying to go out the Memphis Grizzlies by himself. I don't know what that was about, folks. Why is it so easy for these big muscle-bound black men to go after other black people? Why was it so easy for Terry Crews, fellow black muscle man of Shannon Sharp, why was it so easy for Terry Crews to try to go after D.L. Hughley for an observation, for some snide remark, for I just think it's fascinating. I mean, what's the point of having all those muscles if all you doing is flexing on other black folk? I want to think the Memphis Grizzlies is gonna be in the finals this year because Memphis been in the news cycle like nobody business. Tomorrow will be the funeral in Whitehaven at Graceland for Lisa Marie Presley, the alleged only child of one Elvis Aaron Presley. Oh, shook up. And I did that show, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Elvis. Thank you all for the feedback. It's been a very interesting time. Like, for some reason, I can't even get new subscribers. Like, I've been in the negative this whole month. All this great content I've been creating, yet I'm on the negative side of things when it comes to subscribership. I know a lot of people been complaining about the algorithms, about notifications not going out. I've been getting, whatever they call it. I'm so used to getting like that, being messed over. As a black person, you kind of get used to being messed over and being bullied and being undervalued and underappreciated and underestimated. That comes with the territory. But I think it's a change of the guard now because black folk trying to fight back. Now, I've been, people have been contacting me, Brother Ron. Have you been experiencing some things with your YouTube and all that? I've been, yeah, whatever. I've been going through that for years. Some of these people been living so good that now times are getting kind of tighter and harder. They complaining passive aggressively through their little post on social media. It's tripping. Cause I never made any real money doing this. I mean, one year I had a decent year, and then I'm getting punished for having that one decent year of all doing this podcasting. And I've been doing this for a consistent basis for 16 plus years. But I do it for the love of sharing information, for the love of empowering my people, and for the love of just the being able to have the ability and responsibility to be able to disseminate certain information, to be able to amplify certain points of views, because we all be in it to win it. So there's a lot going on in Memphis right now around the world. We start out the new year with the death of Gangsta Boo, Lady Boo, the Queen of Memphis, as she called herself. I don't know. I think people should stay away from calling themselves the King or Queen of Memphis. It doesn't end well, it seems, for folks that declare themselves to be the King of Memphis, whether you be young Adolph Robert Thornton, or whether you be Lola Mitchell, Gangsta Boo. It's something about calling yourself the King or Queen of Memphis. You don't last that long for whatever reason. Maybe maybe it's better be the mayor of Memphis. But T.I. never did call himself the King of Atlanta, right? He called himself the King of the South. He called himself the King of the South. T.I. had his run-ins. T.I. is got 9 lives like a feline. You understand? Because y'all forget, T.I. escaped a lot of near-death experiences. He escaped a lot of so-called career-ending things. If you think about what happened in Cincinnati some years ago, I mean, it's almost 20 years ago, which is crazy. T.I. was almost killed in Cincinnati on a drive-by. I guess his vehicle was shot up and it killed his best friend, I believe. He did a song about it. Then T.I. got arrested at the Hip Hop Awards, BET, one year before the Hip Hop Awards in Atlanta. Some type of hip hop award show. They arrested him. The feds be watching. They put him. He did some fed time up in Forest City, Arkansas. Arkansas is gangster. Y'all don't understand. It's something about the natural state that's naturally so gangster. They got so many places in Arkansas they can hide your body without no problem, man. They can hide you without no problem. You disappear in Arkansas. So they had T.I. doing that federal gun charge up in Forest City, Arkansas. That's the birthplace of Al Green. And also that town was founded by Nathan Bedford Forrest, the first Grand Wizard of the KKK or KKK. So Nathan Bedford Forrest, they took down his statue on Union Avenue in Memphis, but
He got a whole city named after him that he founded himself in Arkansas. That was the birthplace of Al Green, arguably the greatest living soul singer, if not the greatest soul singer of all time. That's the Right Reverend Al. I wonder how you're going to deal with the traffic coming in through Whitehaven, or we call it Black Haven, for tomorrow's homegoing celebration for Lisa Marie Presley, which is supposed to be happening at 9 a.m. See, that's the number 9. See, y'all think Brother Ron be crazy with it, man. Number 9 popping up everywhere this year. Lisa Marie Presley's Life Path number 9. She getting her funeral started, her homegoing at 9 a.m. There's something to these numbers. You know, Nancy Reagan, the first lady for Ronald Reagan, she was really hip onto that numerology, astrology, all that stuff. She used to make sure that Ronald Reagan would sign certain documents at certain times of the day. There's something to that, and y'all keep on dismissing that stuff. And my thing is, I'm not trying to get all deep into the rabbit hole, but you know, the numbers tell a story. The universe is ran on numbers, man. It's mathematics. I'm not a 5%er. You know, I agree in a lot of ways with the perspectives on some aspects of the 5% nation, but I'm not a 5%er, but I am trying to teach. I don't want to be a poor righteous teacher. I want to be a well-paid teacher. You understand? Forget being a poor righteous teacher. Let me be well-paid, man. Well-paid teacher that does the right thing, that has a moral compass. But that 9 is something else in the Lisa Marie story. Because even look at Elvis, right? Elvis died over 45 years ago at the age of 42. 4 plus 5 is 9. Because this past August marked 45 years since the king left the building, since Elvis left the building. And then he was 42. You know, you flip that 6 up, you know, flip it over and flip it upside, right, whatever, down, whatever. It's a 9. So 9s are everywhere for Lisa Marie. I guess it's in the stars, man. Because even when Michael Jackson used a life path 9, right? Not me, life path 6, excuse me, 69. Yin yang yang, 6'9". Michael 6, Lisa 9. 6'9", the king of pop. But anyway, let's talk about what's going on right now in Memphis, Tennessee. The world has changed overnight, it seems. This Tyre Nichols story about this young black man, this black motorist at the age of 29 years young, taken off the planet by some suspect officers of the law. You should never have to worry about losing your life during a traffic stop. But there seems to be a theme in Memphis lately where people have lost their lives, in particular young black men have lost their lives during traffic stops. Now, I am a Memphian, or my brother would say, Brother Ekpe Abioto, I'm a Memphite. I don't have issues with the law or with the officers of the law. I'm not afraid when police officers pull behind me in traffic or they pull aside me. Matter of fact, I love to blast my music. I blast it real, real loud. And I don't care anything about, I can't hear. No, I just love being loud. Like I tell people when I'm in a public space, I'm already loud anyway. I'm Southern. I'm not country. I'm Southern. But I'm loud on purpose. Like when I'm talking on the phone, I'm loud so I can drop that information. So you drop some jewels, I'll drop some jewels, you pick up the gems. I love being loud. I love letting people know where I'm at. So I'm loud by nature. I don't believe in whispering, so I'm loud. I live loud, okay? So I don't get no fear when police pull next to me. I'm bumping my 3-6 Mafia or even Sam Cooke or some Elvis. I don't care. I don't turn my music down. I just make sure I have my turn signals on when I'm changing lanes. I make sure that I pace myself going down the street within like maybe 5 miles under or above the speed limit. Doesn't bother me. But some people do get nervous about the law. I remember when I was down at 201 Poplar for a traffic ticket situation. I ain't gonna forget, this was years ago. And it's like going down to 201 Poplar. People know that's the prison jail center in Memphis, 201 Poplar, right? It's interesting going, the traffic citation payment, whatever, going to see the judge. It's like a slave auction down there. So many black folks down there trying to pay a ticket or do something or try to contest a ticket. It's weird. But Memphis was a slave auction hub. I mentioned Nathan Bedford Forrest earlier, the first Grand Wizard of the KKK or KKK. He was a notorious and very prominent, successful slave trader as well as slave owner. But he traded, and his headquarters was Memphis. Memphis is a distribution hub of the country. Everything runs through here, whether by train, plane, automobile, or boat. Everything coming through Memphis. It's a distribution hub of the country. So with that said, I remember talking to a young brother. He was in line with me and my cousin. And he had his little beautiful son with him. His son had to be either 3 or 4 years old, right? But his son was so nervous. And the father was telling us the reason why his son be nervous a lot because he saw his dad get mistreated by the police real bad on several occasions. Sometimes the son will pee on himself when he see a police officer because he got trauma at 3 or 4 years old of police officers, mistreating his dad. So that's a kid, right? At 3 or 4 years old, right? This black dude, he explained why his son kind of a little jumpy and antsy and stuff like that. So imagine this kid growing up, and this kid, have kids. He passed on that trauma to his kids, and then they pass that trauma on to their kids. I talked to people who family members were victims of systemic racial terrorism and violence. A lot of times they are afraid to bring up the memory of that now ancestor to their loved ones, in particular their children. A lot of them just keep this trauma with them, but you pass that traumatic energy, you transfer it to generations upon generations upon generations and never get resolved. So this is how you get like generational curses in a lot of ways. I don't know what y'all believe in or not like that. Energy is real. Energy transfer is real. It doesn't die with the person. You transfer the energy. Energy never dies. That's real. That's real. So imagine you got that kid going through that at 3 or 4. Imagine how many other 3 or 4-year-old black kids, girls and boys, got that trauma from witnessing a loved one getting handled in the wrong way by the police. This is Memphis, man. Memphis no different than a lot of other places. They always trying to put this bad thing about Memphis. Memphis ain't no worse than a lot of places y'all live. There's no place that is safe from crime in America. Dr. King made a very powerful observation. He said the greatest purveyor of violence on the planet is my own government. Dr. King said the greatest purveyor of violence on the planet is my own government. The same government that killed him 55 years ago this coming April. Never forget. And I people always say, well, if you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, that's insanity. No, that's called practice. No, that's called learning. You learn through repetition. That's how you learn. Through repetition. See, y'all be adopting things and you leave your critical thinking at the door. You don't think, why are they telling me this thing? Well, I'm telling you this. On December 8th, 1999, in U.S. Civil Court in Memphis, Tennessee, the U.S. government was found guilty of killing Dr. King. Instead of you celebrating this holiday, this King holiday, whatever that is, think about how guilty the government feels. They got to spend all this money on a statue of Dr. King, of an Asian king. Asian king. That was done by a Chinese sculptor. Not even a Chinese American, but a Chinese communist artist did that depiction of King. It's a little inside joke, when you think about it. Because, it's funny that black people, his own organization, and other black folks raise money for that statue. You have the same corporations that vilify King. You had people that hated King. People forget that Dr. King was one of the most hated Americans during his lifetime. At the end of his life, he was one of the most despised American citizens because the media made folks hate King. This same media make folks love King. This same media make folks loathe King. Yes, the power of the media, because it influences and controls the minds of the masses, as Malcolm told us. Make your friend your enemy and your enemy your friend, or it can make you your frenemy. See how it works. So do you really control your own way of viewing the world? How are you informed? So never forget, this government, first they suggested the King should kill himself. You know, William Sullivan, one of the top goons for J. Edgar Hoover, was writing poison pen letters to people like King, to organizations like the Black Panther Party. You had Fred Hampton being paranoid of Jeff Fort and vice versa, because they're getting letters and stuff saying, well, no, Chairman Fred want to put a hit on Jeff Fort, then, or they're telling Chairman Fred, well, Jeff Fort wants you out of here, man. Not realizing that the government is playing divide and conquer until hindsight, until you do some forensic historical investigations. You figure out the government was playing both sides all the time. You start understanding that the National Secretary for the Nation of Islam was an FBI asset. John Ali, who used to be Malcolm's so-called friend, he was responsible for communications, of controlling the communications between Elijah Muhammad and Brother Malcolm. So yeah, Farrakhan them head apart. I'm glad Barbara Walters asked Farrakhan that question: where were you when Malcolm got lit up in New York at the Audubon? Because I never heard anybody ask him that question until Barbara Walters did that years ago. So kudos to Barbara, you know, for asking, where were you? And Farrakhan said, I was over there at Mosque Temple 25 in Newark, where them hitters came out of, allegedly. They came out the Mosque 25 in Newark. But yet the government played a role. It's like the government put the drugs and the guns in our communities, or in our neighborhoods and our blocks. You know, you got folks dying over colors, dying over houses and projects and neighborhoods and streets you don't own. Even if you pay your taxes and the mortgage, you still don't own it. It's called eminent domain. It's a joke. Ownership is a joke in this society. You don't own nothing. You don't even own your own body. You understand? You give that up at birth. You don't even own your own body. My choice, my vote, my body. You don't own your body. Nobody who owns a body. Nobody owns a body. You know, la-di-da-di. So let me roll it back. This Tyre Nichols thing is fascinating, because what happened yesterday, you got 5 police officers, because what happened to Tyre Nichols, he got whooped that trick twice, allegedly. Traffic stop, said he was doing reckless driving, and he ran away. Because I'm going to tell you something, there's something going on in Memphis. It's probably going on throughout the whole country. You got folks that are robbing people posing as police officers. This ain't an urban legend. They reported this on the news recently. You got folks posing as police officers in so-called police cars robbing people in Memphis. Then they're saying there's supposedly a serial killer going. There's a serial killer loose in Memphis, but the news ain't reporting on it. Police saying there ain't no serial killer. There's a whole bunch of people getting shot up and burnt up in Westwood, in Memphis. I don't even go to Westwood. That's another reason why I'm not going to Westwood. No disrespect. But you got all types of weird shenanigans going on in Memphis that's being underreported. But allegedly there's people out here posing as police officers robbing people, like pulling folks over and stuff. So imagine if you're a young black man getting pulled over by an unmarked car. You got dudes coming out in hoodies and plain clothes. You don't know who they are. I'll be afraid too. I'm in Memphis. So they kidnapping and killing billionaire heirs. And people say, oh, there's a random act of crime. No, ain't nothing random about violence in Memphis. It's all by design. It's all by design. We're nothing but lab rats and guinea pigs. Y'all haven't figured that out yet? It's nothing but we're all expendable. Like that movie, The Expendables. They don't care if we live or die. It's all about how they can make a profit off our life and death, and how they can still own us in death. Look at Henrietta Lacks. We don't own our body, man. If we own our body, Henrietta Lacks, descendants should be billionaires right now. As much money made off of her so-called immortal cells, What good did it do Henrietta Lacks when she died? What, did she make it to 30? Even after Oprah did that movie, the folks, do the family even have health insurance? Or do they got to pay like everybody else? Did I even get this black woman's consent to take from her body, to exploit her body? It's like Jay Barry and Sims didn't get the consent on black women to destroy their wombs or to terrorize their children. You wonder who the real Nazis are. Come on, man. Come on, let's get real. But so the brother got beat up twice, allegedly. It was 2 confrontations. Somehow, you know, he ended up in the hospital. They say he had a heart attack from the beatings because he had shortness of breath. So they checked him in St. Francis. Family took photos of him in the bed. Nose twitching like a S, like the letter S. His nose all distorted. Had a dent in his head. Brain was swollen. Blood coming out the tubes, out his mouth, out his orifices. Eyes all messed up. Man had a dent in his head. This was a good-looking black man. You know, he was a skateboarder. I think he got roots in California. He got folks here in Memphis, but I think he's a transplant from Cali. He's been in Memphis for about the Memphis area about 10 years. Stuff I've been getting from the news, because sometimes the news get it wrong too. The narratives is be off and stuff like that. So his folks took a picture of him in his bed, in his deathbed, you know, like a living image almost of Emmett Till. Once you see that image of Emmett Till, you can never forget it. Once you see this image of Tyre Nichols, I suggest you Google the image or go on your social media. I'm not posting it here because they really bad about censoring folks when it comes to truth and knowledge of self on these YouTube streets. Not streets, but streets. You know, so ended up dying 3 days later from his injury complications. So they did this to his brother January the 7th of this year. And he dies 3 days later, January the 10th. They just had his funeral January 17th at MJ Edwards Funeral Home on Airways. I'm very well familiar with that funeral home. Gets a lot of business. Death is a recession-proof industry. You know, make a lot of money off of dead people. Ask Puff Daddy. I'm just joking. I kid. But they actually protested. His family and supporters protested what happened to our dear brother during the King holiday. They, I think they went down to the National Civil Rights Museum and protested. And they went to the City Hall doing the MLK breakfast brunch thing. They confronted the mayor, Jim Strickland, protested there. I think they protested at the police station, all this stuff. But you know what's crazy is that the cops, they did this. 5 black cops. That's right, boys and girls. Scars and laymen, 5 black cops allegedly did this to our dear brother. And people always talking about white cops, yada, yada, all this stuff. These are 5 black cops. The only color that matters, the police, is blue. Only color. I'm blue, da da dee da 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 dee da dee da da dee da dee da. I'm blue, okay? Let me get a picture of these guys. And I'm gonna keep this on 2 hours. I gotta go somewhere, but I just, man, this has been on my mind. God bless us all, man. Because this is, man, this is like, we just 21 days in. Just 21 days in, man. Until the new year. 21 days in. I'm just looking. You know, I think we still deal with Mercury retrograde. So I'm just trying to find the right tab. But we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. Okay. These are the 5 black guys. Something about black cops in Tennessee. Something about black cops in Tennessee. You know, you had the situation in Laverne, Tennessee, where they ran a train on Becky, on Officer Becky. Officer Karen got a train, ran on her by some black cops. They lost their jobs. You guys were high-ranking police officers at Laverne, Tennessee. They're willing to lose their job over a Becky and a Karen. Let's run a train. Choo-choo. Now you got this in Memphis. These 5 black police officers lost their job over killing a black man, allegedly. They were fired. The announcement of them getting fired came at 6:30 p.m. Central Time on Friday. 6:30 p.m. 6 plus 3 is 9. All these nines everywhere. Nines, all I see is nines. All I see is nines. So they announced that they were fired at 6:30 p.m. Friday evening. That was yesterday, January the 20th. So these are the 5 black guys that put our dear brother out of here, made him into a righteous ancestor. And the thing about it is, gathering what I got from his family members, the officer said he was, they put him on because of reckless driving. Okay. But he's not gonna be a clean cat. Like, he didn't get in trouble. Like, his family members described him as being nerdy, a skateboard enthusiast. So he's like, he definitely got that Cali feel to him. Then I don't know too many black people here in Memphis that like a skateboard. Memphis natives. I could be wrong, but it's like a Cali thing going on. He kind of nerdy. He like was a 49ers fan. San Francisco. So you got that, nerdy skateboard. He like a for real type of dude. Not really a threatening guy, but he lost his life, and he was a young father. Has I believe a 4-year-old child, which is unfortunate. But these are the 5 black men. A lot of these guys were just recently hired. Like, these guys recently hired. I think 2 of the brothers, I guess you call them brothers, were hired in August of 2020. One 2018. I think the oldest cop, serving cop in those pictures started in 2017. So they was hired in 2017, I think 2018 and 2020. And it shocked a lot of people that, it'd be 5 black police officers. And, the thing about it is weird. Memphis is strange. I'm going to get into all that because it's the strange, right? They have yet to release the body cam of the incident of what happened to this young black man, Tyre Nichols. Because they know it must be really, think about how bad it must be for them to fire these 5 black dudes before they release the body cam footage. Think how bad whatever they did to that brother got to be. Look at his picture. Google up Tyre Nichols' hospital picture. Look how bad. So what did they, you got to wonder. So they fired him. They're like, think about the police brutality cases you would hear in the news around the country, how a lot of times they will withhold the officer's identity as long as they can. They will withhold like a picture of the officer, the name of the officer, and these will be our servants. They will be accountable to the taxpayer, but yet they're terrorized. Some people use their position of power to abuse. I remember when I was growing up, as I was a teenager, in the mornings, she have a bus driver, a yellow school bus driver. She would go out of the way to make sure to stop the traffic as long as she could. Not because she really cared about the kids getting on the bus or off the bus, because she had some type of power. Maybe she felt like she was getting pushed over in her personal life, or she got this passive aggressive, but she will abuse her power as a bus driver to make sure that she would take as long as she could to stop traffic just because. And you got a lot of these people, they hide behind their badges, position of power. A lot of people are a bunch of cowards and bullies. They're a bully and a coward, a lot of these people. But a lot of these people are good people. Like I said, I'm not afraid of police. I don't have nothing to hide. I'm not a criminal. I don't do criminal acts on a consistent basis or nothing like that. I don't have a police record or anything like that. But not to say if I did, I still should be respected as a human being, as a citizen. But evidently, whatever Tyre, our brother allegedly did, it cost him his life. They say they chased him, they confronted him twice, and he ended up in the hospital. Then he dies several days after ending up in the hospital. But let's see, I'm gonna read a story, read like some news articles about the situation. And this is We All Be, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. We all be. Read a little article about these guys. Tyre Nichols, this comes from Channel 3 News, local news here in Memphis, WREG or WRE, yeah, WREG, yeah, okay, REG, okay. The Memphis Police Department announced 5 MPD officers involved in the arrest of Tyre Nichols have been fired. The following officers have been terminated: Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Desmond Mills Jr., and Justin Smith. Memphis police posted this statement to Twitter as well as Facebook and provided the following photos. Oh, well, I got y'all see the photos I got up there, right? Okay. So I'm reading the article, I guess statements from officials. The Memphis Police Department has concluded its administrative investigation into the tragic death of Mr. Tyre Nichols. After a thorough review of the circumstances surrounding this incident, we have determined that 5 MPD officers violated multiple department policies, including excessive use of force, duty to intervene, and duty to render aid. Earlier today, each officer charged was terminated from the Memphis Police Department. The Memphis Police Department is committed to protecting and defending the rights of every citizen in our city. The egregious nature, the egregious nature, I'm learning how to read out, the egregious nature of this incident is not a reflection of the good work that our officers perform with integrity every day. This is Chief C.J. Davis, Memphis Police Chief, who had her car broken into twice. You had folks in Memphis broke into her car twice. This is the police chief, had her car broken in twice and stole her gun. So this is what you're dealing with in Memphis. The police chief been violated twice and got her gun stolen twice. God, this is Memphis. Welcome to Memphis. Robbing in Memphis, man. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy provided the following statement. We understand there are many questions from the public surrounding the Tyre Nichols case. Additionally, we're aware of the reasonable request to release video, which we are committed to doing as swiftly as possible. Why haven't they released the video? Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Show the raw footage. See, they're editing the footage. So they're not even being transparent, but yet, 5 black dudes, five black guys, ain't no problem throwing them away, right? This is insane. Okay. But we must re-emphasize the law places limits on such video release, and that we have to make sure we do so without compromising our ability to arrive at justice in this case. Those who know me know I don't take situations like this lightly, and that I believe firmly in transparency. I ask for your patience as we gather all necessary information so that we don't compromise the investigation of any possible future prosecution. You can never get justice from a just us system. You understand? You can never get justice from a just us system. If they really want transparency, they will release the raw footage. Stop trying to edit something. It's going to look bad regardless. It's like with the Rodney King thing. The Rodney King thing is interesting. Like, it was a guy, he passed away, and now y'all didn't pay attention. The guy who filmed the Rodney King video or incident, he passed away within the last year or two or so. A white dude. See, when they don't want to be honest, when they manipulate stuff, because a lot of us still don't know. A lot of people don't even know there was 2 other people in the car with Rodney King. There was 2 other black guys in the car with Rodney King. And they were interviewed by national media. You could look, I want to say one of the guys would interview Sally Jesse Raphael or Montel Williams. One of them shows, whoever was Phil Donahue. I think it was Sally Jesse Raphael. I don't know. It should be a footage on YouTube. Guy was afraid for his life. You could tell that he was, he was kind of anxious. And then the next thing you know, he dead. He got killed when his car crashed to a telephone pole somehow in California. I think in A.L.L. He died in a car accident not that long after he did his national interview. But it was 2 other guys in the car with Rodney King. Then, the 20th anniversary of the King riots, Rodney King dies in a swimming pool. In his swimming pool, he was drowned. He drowned in his swimming pool. It's back, 2012. Then he was engaged to a woman who was on a jury or something like that. Something like weird stuff going on with this stuff. But anyway, yeah, it was why they just beat up on Rodney King and not the 2 other black dudes in the car. That's interesting. But one of them died not too long after that. He died in a car accident, of all things. But there's a lot to this, but I'm saying it's so easy to throw these black guys under the bus. Now, they need to be held accountable. They need to face so-called justice. They need to get their punishment. I agree, but it's funny how the Memphis Police Department are so willing to throw these black men, or whatever you want to call them, under the bus, versus I can remember 7 years ago, there was a case, Darius Stewart. Darius Stewart was a young black man who was pulled over doing a traffic stop. But the thing about it was, the police officer, who was a white, was more interested in asking him questions or trying to question him versus the dude that actually was driving the car. You see, Darius Stewart was in the passenger seat. So why would a officer pulling somebody over for a traffic situation be more interested in asking questions of a passenger versus the actual driver? And that whole thing was weird because the driver ended up driving out, but Darius Stewart was left with the white police officer, and they got into a tussle on the yard of a church, of a black church called New Direction Church. They was on their property tussling around on the ground. There's footage of this Officer Schilling fighting this young black dude. And the black guy was probably fighting for his life, ended up getting killed by the cop. And nothing really came of it. Now, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, they did an investigation. And come to find out, allegedly, you can read this, I think, online, the whole investigation out, that the cop, the Schilling guy, the cop was named Schilling. Let me get it right. It is so much stuff, man, because like people be emotional about this stuff. You know, I'm passionate about this stuff, but I try to put things in historical analysis for our people, because we think all this stuff that's happened in a vacuum. Police brutality ain't gonna stop until we stop fooling ourselves. It don't make no sense. Y'all think it's good to say, well, Malcolm X said this years ago, and it's still true. Well, Dr. King said this years ago, and it's still true. And it's still true. Yeah, that means there's no progress being made. That means you got me going in circles every generation. There's no progress being made if what Malcolm said about police brutality, because Malcolm had to deal with what happened in mosque out in L.A. or the temple when the brother Ronald Stokes was killed by the police. When Ronald Stokes, I believe, a Nation of Islam member and also a military veteran, was killed in cold blood by the LAPD. And Malcolm wanted to do guerrilla warfare. Malcolm wanted to go ring some bells out in LA. He wanted to do guerrilla warfare. But Elijah Muhammad said, no, Brother Malcolm, no, Malcolm, no. Stay out of it, Brother Malcolm. No, Brother Malcolm. No. So Malcolm was on a leash. But Malcolm wanted to do guerrilla warfare in LA. Because what they did to Brother Ronald Stokes. He wanted them to put some respect on their name. You know, what's funny about black people, need to study the Mormons. Whatever y'all think about the Mormons, y'all talking about, yeah, they got their issue, but they white people, right? They, you know, white folks view black folks a certain way. Yeah, you have some black Mormons. Matter of fact, one of the biggest landowners in LA was a black woman who was a Mormon or connected to the Mormons. One of the biggest landowners in LA. It's a black woman who was connected to the Mormon faith. Y'all look that up. I ain't gonna see. I'm just talking off the top of my head, but yeah, I read this somewhere. Y'all can Google this and feel free to share what you find with us, because we all be in it to win it. But the Mormons actually took on the United States government a couple of years before the Civil War and beat the United States government. That's why they're in Utah today. They fought the United States government when James Buchanan, the bachelor president, the first gay president, as far as I'm concerned, he was the bachelor president, James Buchanan. He took on the Mormons right before the Civil War. The Mormons collaborated with the Native Americans out there, and they took on the U.S. government and won. And look that up. That's true. They don't talk about the war before the war. This is a little mini Civil War. But yeah, the Mormons were driven out of the East and all that because, you know, people forget that their leader, the founder of the Mormon faith, was lynched in the Midwest. I think he was lynched in Illinois. See, I'm just saying all this stuff. So you had this white dude that was lynched for his religious beliefs. They were persecuted for their religious belief. So they kept on moving further out west into Utah territory. And the government said, no, we want nah. And Mormons took a stand. And they fought. And they beat the U.S. government. You know, you think about Mitt Romney. His daddy, or George Romney, was the governor of Michigan. I think he was born in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm saying all this pray ain't gonna work if you pray away. Pray away ain't gonna work on this police brutality. You got to do something else. Now, that's when it becomes insanity when you expect to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And you got to put it in certain contexts and situations when that is actually insanity. Okay, so yeah, the same stuff going on. But you know what's funny about Memphis? I think Memphis hired its first black police officers back in the middle of the 20th century. I want to say it was like either the late 40s or early 50s. Because Ernest Withers, the famous civil rights photographer and FBI informant, he was one of the first black police officers. But before I get to that, I talk about Darius Stewart, right? Young black man, right? Fighting for his life of a cop on the grounds of a black church, New Directions Church grounds, one of their church locations, right? Cop kill him. But you think that's weird that the cop will signal him out as a passenger of a car when he should be writing a citation to the driver? Come to find out, allegedly they knew each other, that they were may have been lovers, may have been a sexual relationship they had. And that's why he was singled out by the police officer. Because first they were trying to destroy Darius Stewart. They're trying to character assassinate. See what they do to black victims. They assassinate your character. Even though you the person that was wrong, they want to make sure that they kill you twice or 3 times. They kill you physically, then they kill your image, and then they kill you in terms of you getting any type of justice on your legacy. So they kill you about 3 times. And sometimes more than that. But the investigation was done. Sound like they had some type of relationship. And they kind of came out in the TBI report, from what I was told. You know, Thaddeus Matthews, baddest man in media, our black version of Howard Stern. He is good about breaking news. He got sources within law enforcement and other people leak him stuff, and he'll put it out there. So allegedly they had some type of consensual affair. I don't know, but it cost him his life. Whatever happened. And then what's weird about Darius Stewart case and this Tyre Nichols, they both worked at FedEx. You were young black men working at FedEx. I don't know what the connection is. FedEx got his corporate headquarters here. And I used to work in the hub, called the hub the Plantation. That's what we called it, Plantation 20-something years ago. And they paid, we called it the Plantation. A bunch of black folks working, back-breaking work. You don't supposed to be working in the hub, moving, throwing boxes like that for 20 years, but some people do it, break your body. It's a plantation town, Memphis. But funny, both guys worked at FedEx. And the Darius Stewart thing was over 7 years ago. It'll be 8 years in a couple of months since Darius Stewart and I connected with his family, his aunt and mom, and this just broke their heart, man, what happened to Darius. But they have yet to assassinate the character of Tyre Nichols outside of him reckless driving for whatever reason. They have not said anything bad about Tyre Nichols. And this is the 55th anniversary coming up of the King assassination on April 4th. And let me put a picture up of Darius. And this is We All Be News Free Dicks for the 21st century. Time is moving fast, but I just want to talk. It's some things as a mythite, as a so-called historian. I want to put this in the actual context of some certain things. This is our good brother Tyre Nichols. He's righteous ancestor now. Benjamin Crump was hired by the family, so they're about to get paid millions and millions of dollars for his death, which is unfortunate. But it's like he'll be worth more dead than alive, it seems like, for some people. Unfortunate, but at the same time, what a loss, man. It's like he was a good guy. But Ben Crump has been called in and, about to get paid. I want to look up something about him. Oh, my God. Can't find it. There's so much stuff going on. God bless the dead. But yeah, my man, he don't tell what else going to happen this year. But Connor Schilling was the guy who killed Darius Stewart over 7 years ago. Trying to find some things. It's a lot of information overload. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna read something else from Channel 3. Tyre Nichols and Memphis police, what we know so far, right? The death of Tyre Nichols, a 29-year-old Memphis man, after a traffic stop turned into a confrontation with Memphis police this month, has brought national scrutiny to the department and the city. Yeah, I think y'all can hear me, right? I'm just checking everything. Y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Okay. And rightfully so. It should bring scrutiny. On January 20th, 5 Memphis police officers were fired after the department concluded its investigation into the death of Tyre Nichols. Okay, let's get into the background of this. On January 7th, MPD says officers stopped Tyre Nichols for reckless driving near Rains and Ross Road in Hickory Hill. I know that area very well. Police say as they approached him, a confrontation, quote unquote, occurred and he took off running. After a pursuit, officers claim another, quote, confrontation, unquote, occurred before taking Nichols into custody. Family says the second confrontation happened on Castlegate Lane, just yards from where he lived and under a sky cop camera. So cameras are everywhere, body cam and a sky cop camera. Police said Nichols did complain of shortness of breath and was taken to St. Francis Hospital in critical condition. Nichols' family says the incident made him go into cardiac arrest, left him with a broken neck, and he suffered from other medical issues. On January the 10th, he died in the hospital. Look that picture up of the brother, man. Pictures tell the story. Tyre was a man. Family demands action from Memphis police. They already did enough. Y'all think I did enough to brother Tyre? Who is Tyre Nichols? Who was Tyre Nichols? Okay. He is 29 or was 29 years old. His family says he's 6'4", 145 to 150 pounds. He leaves behind a 4-year-old son. Family says he never been in trouble. He liked to take pictures and loved to skateboard. Friends wore skating peace shirts to his memorial. So kind of like a black hippie. Kind of remember that brother that got killed in Colorado. The young brother got killed and was apologizing as they was killing him. This is crazy. He was infectious, family said. The type of guy that everywhere he went, he left an impact. They say he had a pure soul and loved helping people. He worked at FedEx. The company released a statement and said, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of our team member." Yeah, okay, but you know, I ain't gonna get into all that. Corporate media or corporations are people too. Okay, then okay, they said this. Who is investigating? Shelby County District Attorney General Steve Mulroy immediately asked the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to conduct an independent investigation into the use of force by Memphis police officers. So this is our new attorney general, district attorney general, right? And he actually is an interesting dude. He got a background in academia, and he just got elected. Just replaced Amy Rarick, who was the same woman that would not process date rape kids. I'm gonna say date rape. Y'all know what I'm saying. Silent the G. She wouldn't process some kids for whatever reason, and she's a woman supposedly. On January 9th, his office sent an email stating they plan to publish the redacted results on the Shelby County District Attorney General website when the findings are complete. Damn, this is National Archives. See what they doing? There's some weird stuff going on with this. Man, when they release them videos, brace yourself. Are folks gonna shut down the bridge like they did last time? I mean, what are they scared of, man? This is crazy. On January 15th, Police Chief C.J. Davis and Mayor Jim Strickland released a joint statement stating the officers involved in the incident have been served notice of impending administrative action. Davis also stated she reviewed various sources of information involving this incident. On January 16th, Nichols' family retained civil rights attorney Ben Crump. He stated, all the available information tells us that this was the tragic and preventable death of a young man deeply beloved by his family and community. He added, nobody should die from a simple traffic stop. And the footage is the only way to discern the true narrative. On January 17th, the city issued a statement saying the video will be released publicly after the completion of the internal investigation into the actions of the officers and after Nichols' family has had the opportunity to review it privately. They have not said what type of video from the incident exists, but they are arranging to meet with Nichols' family next week. On January the 18th, United States Attorney Kevin G. Ritz announced the United States Attorney's Office, in coordination with the FBI and the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, opened a civil rights investigation into the death of Tyre Nichols. Internal review. The city says before it can discipline or terminate an employee, they must go through a required procedural process. Internal Affairs investigates all complaints lodged against police personnel. Memphis police said it's working quickly and appropriately to go through the administrative, disciplinary, and investigative process. They expect the process to wrap up this week. Internal Affairs has gone back to the scene since the incident. Keep in mind, employees can appeal any decision made with the Civil Service Commission. So it's like they fast track a lot of things, because from my understanding, reading from a source, the family has already reviewed the video, and they're supposed to meet with Mayor Strickland, the Memphis mayor, sometime this upcoming week. So this brother right there, 29 years old, father of a 4-year-old son, dead at 29. But his son will be a millionaire. I think, I think the city will have to pay him millions of dollars, which is an interesting turn of events. I'm going to tell you why. What's fascinating about Memphis, like I'm gonna get back to when they first hired the Memphis 5, whatever, the first 5 black police officers. I think it was 5. I said Ernest Withers, the famous civil rights photographer, and FBI informant, was a part of that. Let's see, police. Memphis first 5. Let me see. I want to see. I'm trying to look at. Trying to look this up on my smartphone. We'll make sure I get it right. Yeah, they started hiring black police officers in Memphis back in 1948. I was making sure I got it right. I think it was 5 that were hired. I met Ernest Withers. I met another brother who used to be over the police when Dr. King used to come to Memphis. They would normally make sure he had an all-black police security detail. When he used to come in last time, he didn't have no protection for the police like that, and he got killed. But normally, I actually met the guy who was a black police officer. He's retired. He's almost 100 years old now, if he's still around. But he was the one that used to organize the police to protect Dr. King, and they didn't do it the last time. And you see what happened. Because what they don't tell y'all, Dr. King always had some armed black people around him. He always had some armed black dudes. Y'all talking about that nonviolent. Dr. King had black guys. I mean, he had black guys with guns around him. Even when James Meredith got shot trying to do the March Against Fear, when Dr. King took over that march for James Meredith, you had Deacons for Defense and all types of armed black folks around Dr. King marching down the highway. I know people that participated in the March Against Fear. And you had armed black men walking with Dr. King. If you forget, Dr. King was stabbed in Harlem by a crazy black woman, allegedly. MK Ultra. She stabbed him in his chest and almost killed him. Had he sneezed, he would have bled to death because that thing would have pierced his heart. He would have bled to death had he sneezed. Well, she ended up dying on the 50th anniversary Selma weekend. She died that weekend. She about 95 years old up in New York. But anyway, oh man, this stuff is crazy. Let's see. Okay, but it was the first black police officer. You know, they couldn't. Black police officers back in the day, they couldn't arrest white people. They could only arrest black people. So you can see white folks doing all type of crazy stuff, but as a black police officer, you couldn't arrest them. This is back in 48. You know, think about what Dick Gregory would talk about, how black police officers, you don't hear a lot of times, you don't hear a lot of cases where black police officers are shooting unarmed white male teenagers. You might hear some exceptions. I heard cases where a black police officer down in Louisiana had to kill a white woman because she suicide by a cop. She was charging him. She wouldn't stop. She was charging him with a knife or something. And he told her to stop, and she wouldn't stop. And she called him like all types of names. Just use your imagination, allegedly. And he shot her. This was several years ago. Not that long ago. But normally you don't hear about black police officers on the job. You don't hear about that. It's like you don't hear about, you can't name me one black celebrity outside of OJ, and I don't think he did it. I know he didn't do it. We can't name one black celebrity that's been accused of killing white people. I can't. I couldn't imagine sitting in the shop slapping Skip Bayless, let alone trying to kill him. Skip. But the Grizzlies, they don't want the smoke. They don't want the smoke. Skip. They don't want the smoke. Skip. They don't want the smoke. Skip. They don't want the smoke. Uncle Shannon. Okay. Go Grizz, go. I'm just setting the scene. Black police officer, you see a white man raping a black woman, you can't do nothing about it. See a white man stealing, or see a white teenager stealing something out the store, you can't do nothing, but you can't arrest them. That was the reality. See how insane, all this insanity that get passed on from generation to generation? What's the point of being police? You just police your own, right? You abuse your own. So it doesn't surprise me there would be 5 black police officers that would do this to another black person. You gotta look at the mentality that they're coming through. The first black, their predecessors couldn't even arrest white people, let alone stop them. It's crazy. Why be a cop? But let's move along to the 60s, because this case reminds me of, which is interesting, because a lot of y'all probably never heard this case. I don't care how many videos people done and these documentaries, y'all always say, I never heard of this before. Y'all be twice my age. A lot of y'all be, I never heard of this. And you about 80-something years old, never heard of the stuff I'll be talking about. And I learned it in the hell at the time. Actually, some of the stuff that I've been talking about, I learned as a little kid, not because the schools taught me, because I had an intellectual curiosity to check out books. I used to listen to old people talk about the old days, not the good old days, but the old days, which I still the same days today. Nothing old. There's no such thing as old days when it's still happening today. That's my whole point. So I can't believe this time is flying, but I want to talk about this case a little bit, not that long. There's some cases I looked into that I was a pioneer, because everybody, they ride off Brother Ron's back. You know, I interviewed Larry Payne, mom. Who is Larry Payne? Let me tell y'all who Larry Payne is. Let me find it. Take a look. It's all online. So unlock this to free your mind. See how it works. I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing. I'm a laughing machine. But this is not on Laughing Matter. Now I was telling people, I said, if Bill Cosby could do 3 years, then Alec Baldwin could do 18 months. So that's what he get. Allegedly, the punishment would be 18 months. But Bill had to do 3 years hard time. He had that stuff, had that COVID. They wouldn't even give him no early release. They're trying to kill Bill. Kill Bill. The real Kill Bill. Yeah, Alec Baldwin, he don't get 18 months for killing somebody on this movie set. He could get up to 18 months, but Bill had to do 3 years for Benadryl. He did 3 years for Benadryl, man. That ain't right. That ain't right, man. But all serious, folks, it's ain't no justice, just us, man. All seriousness. Let's see. It's gonna pop up. Okay, this is what I want to show. This is, I got videos all about Larry Payne, all through the We All Be thing, right? Larry Payne. Who was Larry Payne? Well, Larry Payne was a teenager. He was 16 years old. He actually did participate, I believe, in Dr. King's last march downtown, March 28th, 1968 was a Thursday. I think he was down there with the other folks, young people, and that march was not successful. And that's why Dr. King was planning to come back in April to redo the march, because it was some agent provocateurs that got, police brutality. Police confronted the marchers, the protesters, and started bashing people's heads and whipping people up, whooped that trick. And so they blamed Dr. King. They said, well, how can a man of peace be able to bring so much violence into the city? So Dr. King said, I gotta do this right. I gotta do this again. So Dr. King, okay, well, Larry Payne was killed in the Fowler Homes projects by the police. He had a whole bunch of eyewitnesses. So what happened to Larry Payne? Witnesses said that Larry had his hands up. He said, hands up, don't shoot. Ain't that interesting? He said, hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. Police shot him anyway. Officer Leslie Dean Jones, who was a Vietnam veteran in his 20s, because he was born in 1942, so he would have been like 26 or 25. So he put a sawed-off shotgun to Larry's belly and blew him away in front of all these eyewitnesses in the projects and Fowler Homes. Nothing ever happened because Officer Leslie Dean Jones, now they say he had his hands up. He said, hands up, don't shoot, don't shoot. But Officer Jones said that Larry had a butcher knife. And they never found this knife, and police claim they threw it away in the river, in the Mississippi River, allegedly. They threw it. Maybe it came up after the Mississippi River went through that drought. Maybe the knife came up after 50-something years. But Larry Payne was killed in cold blood, a teenage boy. Now, they keep on saying he's 17 years old. No, he would have been 17 later on in the year. He was 16 when he got killed. Why you can't trust a lot of things you read? You got to look into research, a lot of conflicting information on the same subject matter. But I'm just trying to put that out there. It's not important that everything, whether he's 16 or 17, this man was killed in cold blood by so-called authorities on a very questionable situation or circumstances. But he was 16. I actually interviewed Larry's mom. She's gone on to glory. And when I interviewed her, just back in December of 2010, it's on We All Be TV. I got to hear. She kept on breaking down, crying about that day. I mean, you got to think about this decades ago, and it broke up their family. It broke his father, man. His father cried for the rest of his life every day for the loss of his son. I believe Larry was living with his father at the time, but for whatever reason, he was over at his mama's place in the Fowler Homes. I don't know his father really lived, but his father, he cried himself to death over what happened to his son. It broke him. And talking to his mom was crazy. Not crazy, crazy, but it was sad. You still had that trauma because they tried to get justice for her son, but they was ran out of Memphis. The whole family was ran out of Memphis. She was running for her life. They ran all the way up to Flint, Michigan. She got ran from Memphis to Flint, Michigan, of all places. Ended up dying in Flint, I want to say about around 2018 or somewhere like 2017, something like that. Then I talked to one of her kids, her son, and he had all type of trauma in his voice. Like you hear that hurt in his voice, like losing his brother. It's like he was heavily medicated on something. It's sad, man. That's generational trauma. That's generational curses past. Interviewed her sister, Carolyn. What's crazy? I was thinking about Larry Payne. March 28th will mark the 55th anniversary of him getting killed. Dr. King called Larry's mom offer his condolences. That was Thursday, March 28th, 1968. Dr. King was planning to meet with Larry's mom and family, and he got killed the next Thursday. So they killed Larry Payne on Thursday, March 28th, 1968, and then killed Dr. King on Thursday, April 4th, 1968. So that's 2 Thursdays, back-to-back tragedies, right? So the family tried to get justice for Larry. They got ran out the city. They actually got ran out by the powers that be. Got ran up. Mama got ran out to Flint, Michigan, of all places, and she died there some years later. And we actually acknowledged Larry at the last year's Jimmy Lunsford Legacy Awards at the Orpheum Theater. His sister wasn't able to stay during the presentation, but I gave her his plaque the next day. And she called me today, man. I mean, it's weird because after what happened with the 5 police officers yesterday, she called me today, and she was concerned that nobody's recognizing her brother. You know, it's good that we acknowledge what happened to Tyre Nichols. Unfortunately, as it is, he's being acknowledged. But Larry Payne happened almost 55 years ago. That's why I'm saying nothing really changed. You know, nothing really changed. You know, y'all keep talking about progress. What progress? Because you got a Mercedes or you got this big home and you got a nice job. That's progress for the whole collective? No, it's got worse. You know, the economy is worse than it was 55 years ago. The economy was booming, man. The economy was booming 55 years ago. I could drop out of high school or even junior high and get a job. You know, if I was going to Manassas, drop out, I could work at the tire company, Firestone. They had a factory in North Memphis. I could work there for 30, 40 years. Wife could stay at home, take care of home, raise the kids. One job for one household, take care of 4 or 5 people. Send my kids to college, retire on a good-ass pension. Them days are gone. But like you had something to fight for as a black person, man, I want a piece of that pie. That pie was hot and piping. It's piping hot. Now you look at this stuff, man. It's not even microwave warm. People just losing. You know, there's people getting evicted out their homes, apartments, and nobody's talking about it. They're talking about other crap. They worry about Ukraine, but not worry about grandma. Over here. They over there where they should be over here. Looking out, taking care of home. But times have changed, man. And people are so ahistorical because nobody's really, like, outside of me, nobody has made connections to Larry Payne or Darius Stewart yet when it comes to Tyre Nichols. Why all the change now? I mean, all this for 5 black cops. And they deserve to get what they get. I'm not defending these cops at all, but I'm saying, where's the smoke for white cops that have been getting away with this for impunity, with impunity for years, for generations, for decades? Where is the smoke? What made those cops think that they could get away with this? Like, what type of culture is in that so-called environment, in that blue environment? Why are they teaching them or saying to think that they could get away with this? And yet, I really believe if the majority of these people were white, they would not have released their pictures or names this quickly. Because you've seen the patterns around the country where they're not releasing. If a white cop involved in an incident like this, similar to this, they're not trying to release the names right away. They're not trying to release the photos, even though this is taxpayer funded. Like, you trying to tell me I can't see the video and my taxpayer money paid for y'all to have body cams and all this stuff? Why are you trying to hide? See, me, if I was the mayor, I would put all that out there. Because I ain't got nothing to hide. I ain't telling people to do what they did. I would hang them out to dry. Yes, I would. All this procedure and all, what you trying to hide? I mean, when you got to do all that, I mean, you trying to get your story straight. You trying to control the narrative. That's what they're doing. What I'm doing right now, I'm pushing back on that. You can't tell me y'all job well done when y'all got a record of not doing job well done. You go back, I don't even go back 55 years ago. I go back to 7 years ago with Darius Stewart. Got killed on the grounds of a black church by a white cop. Connor Schilling, he ain't go to no prison. Not to my knowledge. Because his mama's still grieving on what they did to her son. So-called black leadership is lacking. It's black lackership. It's not leadership, it's lackership. Lackership. These people are sad. They sorry. Be transparent. Don't talk about being transparent. Let's throw the stuff out there and may the heavens fall. Whatever happen, gonna happen. They gonna put somebody twerking in there or something like that to keep us not full of the fact that this dude lost his life in this barbaric fashion. Y'all put some twerkers in there or something. Y'all do sprinkle some stars and cinnamon. What y'all trying to do the video? I'm gonna make my point. Bring it home. Never forget what they did to Larry Payne. Never forget. And if you never knew, never forget and tell people about Larry Payne. What happened? You can even start on We All Be TV because I interviewed the mom, interviewed his brother, his sister. But his sister was so hurt. Miss Carolyn Payne, good people. She's good people. I do work, man, in the city and around. I'm grassroots, not just talking on here. You know what I'm saying? I do stuff in my community, so-called community. I call it neighborhood or, whatever, projects or whatever you want to call it. We all just social experiment. We all just Tuskegee. You be honest with yourself about it. Trying to see something right quick. And I'm about to wrap this up, but I'll just bring a point. Try to make a point here. So we're not getting this educated. People keep talking about, well, schools got to. Schools can't deal with your crazy bad kids, man. How you everything ain't the teacher fault. Oh, why they didn't teach us in school? School ain't never probably responsible to teach you knowledge yourself. Now, what's going on in Florida is interesting with DeSantis. Now, I'm a critic of so-called critical race theory, but the real reason that DeSantis don't want to talk about critical race theory is because the hell that Florida put black folks through. I can name not just Rosewood. There's a lot of instances where the state of Florida sponsored just straight out white terrorism against black people and let the white folks get away with it. And they don't want to talk about the actual history of that. And I might do a show to touch on that a little bit. Because like I said, I don't believe in teaching people to be victims, but I believe in us becoming victors. But we got to know about the good, bad, and the ugly, the highs and the lows. But you got to be balanced. But with Florida, if they expose what they really did and are doing to black people in Florida, there's no doubt that we'll get reparations. And we're getting reparations. But to be honest, you got to name the names, man. All this boogeyman, dominant society, white boogeyman, no, name their names. They got names. They got organizations that they belong or belonged to. Name all this stuff. Get the paper trail out there. That's all I'm saying. But let me play this presentation that I saw Sister Carolyn Payne the day after the Jimmy Lonsford Legacy Awards, right? I saw the day after to give this plaque to her in honor of her brother's memory. I mean, this man, life was cut short at 16. The guy who killed him lived to be 76 years old, became a grandfather, not only a father or a grandfather, but a great-grandfather. And our dear brother was denied the privilege of even raising a family, let alone graduating from high school. So I'm going to play this, and we'll be right back. Because this is important information. And I'm the feeder. I'm going to feed y'all. I'm about to go give me something to eat. But if you want to help me get something to eat, feel free to hit that Cash App, whatever, the Venmo, all that, Google Pay, PayPal. If you like the words from Brother Heard, and it's feeding your soul and spirit, whatever, your brain, feed me. A lot of sapiosexuals out in the house. Can I hear it for the sapiosexuals in the house? Sapiosexuals, make some noise. Have I been looking at the chat room right now, or the Brain Trust, or the call y'all, I gotta think of a name. We All Be Tribe. I have not been looking in the We All Be Tribe room right now. Been just straight spinning this stuff out. But I actually presented this to Larry Payne's sister on his birthday. He would have been 17 on October 23rd of 68. But this We All Be. Lot to process here, folks. God is with us. One love. Oh.
Read
Okay.
it. The 2022 We All Be Remembering Martyrs for the Cause Award presented posthumously to Brother Larry Payne for making the ultimate sacrifice for the upliftment and empowerment of Hue, H-U-E, humanity.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are here with the sister of Larry Payne. She is accepting the We All Be Martyrs on his behalf, the award. And we just want to get your thoughts.
On behalf of Larry and myself, we greatly appreciate this award, and we greatly appreciate thinking about Larry. Today is Larry's birthday. If you can help me wish Larry a happy heavenly birthday on today, and thanks for thinking about Larry and myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Payne. The words to be we love you madly, and we'll never forget.
And I love you as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy heavenly birthday, Brother Larry Payne.
Oh, yes.
Gone but never forgot.
Hey guys, Toby Mathis here, and question.
Yeah, we did on Larry Payne's birthday. It's about divinity. I mean, you're doing things in the right spirit. God has a way. Cause I had no idea that Larry Payne's birthday was the weekend that we did the Jimmy Lunch for Legacy Awards until the last minute. And like, man, his birthday is actually wow. Okay, God is always in the plan, man. It's always by design, some type of way, some will, somehow. But that Sister Carolyn, she's been like her brother's keeper on this, like making sure his name is not forgotten, the sacrifices, the trauma that the family pays to this day. Where is the justice for Larry Payne and for his family? She just lost a sister recently, which is unfortunate. But I mean, this story is barely a footnote at the National Civil Rights Museum where Dr. King was killed or got shot. You know, they barely made mention of Larry Payne, what happened to him. And then they get the officer name wrong in the exhibit at the National Civil Rights Museum. And they still probably got it wrong. But I want y'all to see like what they did to them 5 black cops versus like I talk about Connor Schilling with Darius Stewart. Nothing happened to Connor. He lost his job, I guess. It wouldn't surprise me he's working in somebody else's police department somewhere in the country. A lot of times they move around, like with Tamir Rice, the dude that killed Tamir Rice, was able to get another job after killing Tamir Rice in Cleveland. Or even the dude that killed Mike Brown, what's his name? Darren Wilson. I think he got a job somewhere. I mean, they just move him around, man. And like the Vatican, the Catholic Church, they move around the pedo priests. The pedo priests be moving around like music chairs. But I'm gonna get out of here. Before I get out of here, I want to pay some attention. Let me see. Trying to find. It's so much stuff to talk about. But yeah, but I don't make sure before we get into this football, and all this mess, that I talked about this case a little bit. I'm gonna show you how the guy who killed Larry Payne. Show this guy. Read his obituary. Y'all tell me what y'all think they left out in the obituary. It's Officer Leslie Dean Jones, right? Show him. Name the names and show their faces, man. This We All Be. That's how we do it at We All Be. We all be in it to win it, but there's so much stuff, man. Like I said, I'm a loner for real. I am a loner, not alone, but a loner. Sometimes lonely. But there's a difference between being lonely and being a loner. To be honest with you. I'm gonna read this obituary. I'm gonna show this picture of this officer. I think it's very important that he not be forgotten in history. That he lives. That his name live on in infamy. That his descendants be ashamed of his actions and be ashamed of the institutions and the society that protected this man for doing this to this young black child. Stop. Larry Payne was not a man. He was a boy. He was a teenager, right? They all try to make Aki like they try to make Tamir Rice like he was 30. He was just 12 years old. Or the black boy, it was a black man. You know how the media be doing. We let them get away with that. He's a black man. Was it a black girl, a black woman? The black woman was just 12. What you talking about, black woman? Are our kids allowed to ever be kids in this society? Our kids are always older than what they are. But that's Officer Leslie Dean Jones right there. Good old boy. Just a good old boy. He means some harm. He's a good old boy. Okay. He died March of 2019. He died a year after the MLK 50. He died 50 years after killing Larry Payne. He was able to live 50 more years after Larry. He lived 50 more years longer than Larry Payne was allowed to live. And I'm going to read his obituary, which is interesting. Like, I'm not interested in what they put in obituary, excuse me. I'm more interested in what they left out of the obituary. So think about, I told you about Larry Payne's family was driven out of Memphis. His mom had to leave Memphis for Flint, Michigan. Never got justice for her son. All type of witnesses were around. They saw him shoot this boy in his stomach in cold blood. He had his hands up and don't shoot. Larry Payne had his hands up and said, don't shoot. But this obituary, right? This is Leslie Dean Jones, sunrise, October 13th, 1942, sunset, March 15th, 2019. He almost made it to the 51st anniversary of killing Larry Payne. Just several days short. Leslie Dean Jones, age 76, resident of Somerville, Tennessee, departed this life Friday morning, March 15th, 2019, at the National Healthcare Center in Somerville. Funeral services for Mr. Jones were held at 11 a.m. Monday, March 18th, 2019, at the Peebles West Funeral Chapel at Oakland with Pastor Andy McClung of Morning Sun Cumberland Presbyterian Church in Cordova officiating. Interment was at 9:30 a.m. Tuesday, March 26, 2019, in the West Tennessee State Veterans Cemetery in Memphis. Leslie was born October 13th, 1942 in Memphis, Tennessee, the son of the late Albert Dean Jones and Pauline Raines Pritchett Jones. He received his education at Memphis Tech High School and Memphis State University and was employed as a police officer, ain't no peace about him, in Memphis and Somerville for a number of years. He was of the Seventh-day Adventist faith and was a Mason. Leslie served in the Marine Corps during the Vietnam War period and enjoyed fishing, watching television, riding horses, shooting black people. I said shooting black people. It said shooting and hunting deer, or shooting and hunting black people, allegedly. Mr. Jones is survived by two sons, Albert Dean Jones and wife Ashley of Bartlett, Tennessee, Thomas Vernon Jones of Bolivar, Tennessee, 5 grandchildren, Kyle Jones, Emma Grace Jones, Wally Jones, Corey Jones, Stephen Jones, and 1 great-granddaughter, Avery Reed Jones. The family requests that memorials be directed to St. Jude Memorial Giving, 501 St. Jude Place, Memphis, Tennessee, 38105-9959, or the Fraternal Order of Police Foundation, 328 Massachusetts Avenue, Northeast, Washington, D.C., 20002. So there you go. This man was able to live 50 more years and raise a family and even got great-grandchild. Probably got more great grandchildren now because this was back in March of 2019. And yeah, he took Larry Payne. They made no mention of him killing him. He was able to move from job to job. Memphis police, Somerville, Tennessee, too. So he was like 25, 26 when he killed Larry. He was 25 when he killed Larry Payne because his birthday October 13th. You know what's interesting that Larry Payne's birthday is October 23rd. So it was like 10 days apart. October 13th, October 23rd for Larry Payne. So, man, this stuff is weird. But yeah, but that's the guy. The Memphis Police Department did not do him like they did those 5 police officers of color yesterday. He was able to get away with it, even though he had witnesses everywhere. A whole bunch of folks saw this this black child being killed by this white police officer, getting his guts blown out with a sawed-off shotgun by this white police officer. And yet, I remember talking to the family, they thought the officer was dead for years. This is what they do. They thought the dude that killed their son or their brother, they thought this white man been dead. But the powers that be hid this man from the public. They hid the knowledge of him being still around from the family. It's like this case in Mississippi where white folks in this Mississippi community told the authorities that the dude that killed these black guys, these young black men looking for work, James Ford Seal, I think his name, they say he was dead. They lied to the authorities, say he'd been dead for years. The man was still alive. And the brother of one of his victims got justice. He came down to Mississippi with a Canadian documentary film crew and found this man. He was a Vietnam War veteran himself, the black guy who got justice for his brother and his brother's friend. And James Ford Seal was convicted and put in prison, and he died in prison. Yeah, he was older, but he still died in disgrace. Just like Carolyn Bryan Dunham need to die in disgrace. I don't care. Put her in hospice care in prison. If Bill Cosby could do 3, she could do her 3. Let's see if she lasts 3 years doing hard time like Bill Cosby, Dr. Bill Cosby did. Okay? Give these folks the Cosby treatment. But anyway, but yeah, the family didn't know he was still alive all this time. You know, Larry Payne's mom went to her grave thinking that the dude that killed her son was dead. Officer Leslie Dean Jones, Memphis findings. And don't you forget, there are several sources said it was a Memphis police officer that was a sniper that killed Dr. King. Get Dr. William Pepper's book, The Plot to Kill King. He actually had an encounter with the guy because he was driving taxis at one point. It was a white police officer. It was known as the best shot on the force that killed Dr. King allegedly. So that's another theory about that. But I mean, Memphis is like, man, this is crazy. That officer let that man's image be in your mind. This the dude that got away with killing a black teenager and was able to enjoy a full life. He got 3 scores and 10 and then some. Lived to be 76 years old, died a grandfather and a great-grandfather. Well respected in his community for killing this black teenager. So I'm gonna end it on that. But this is why it is on my mind to do this show. There's so much going on. There's so much to talk about. But if you like the words from Brother Hurd, please spread the word. We All Be TV. That's one word. We All Be TV on YouTube. Like I said, it's weird. I create content. People say it's good content, but yet I have a negative in subscribership this month. I don't have any subscribers. I'm losing subscribers support according to YouTube. I'm losing subscribers, but people say, oh, I love these shows. Support the shows. You could cash out your support. $, excuse me, let me drink some. skip. Cash out your support. $R2C2H2. That's $R2C2H2. You could Google Pay, PayPal, or Zelle your support. R2C2H2 at gmail.com. That's R2C2H2 at gmail.com. Venmo your support at R2C2H2. That's at R2C2H2. Also, buy Artemis Art, R2C2H2.com, R2C2H2.com. Apple Cash your support, 901-299-4355, 901-299-4355. Also, what else? Join our Patreon, patreon.com/weallbe. It's patreon.com/weallbe, or you can become a member on this channel. Thanks, Dominique Griffin. Haven't forgot about you, brother. Working on contacting you as well as other folks. Thank you all for the donations over this weekend. Y'all don't know this stuff really helps out. Helps keep me going. Hear great words of affirmation. I receive all your positive vibes. You got that vibe. Okay, got that vibe. Keep it going, positive. Thank y'all so much. And let me read a disclaimer. Or let me check in. Look at the We All Be Tribe box. Yeah, I don't mean it's weird. Like it must be. It's weird, man. It is strange. Yeah, I could dance, man. I ain't gonna twerk. Yeah, I could dance a little bit. Appreciate y'all support. Just going through the chat. Thank you, good brother. You always been consistent. I appreciate you receiving the information and supporting the channel. Love you madly. Hey, 16 years and we got the best is yet to come. I received that, good brother. Well, I'm thinking your brother, sister, whatever. Fellow tribes person. We love you madly. Thank you for that. Biddy, I don't know. She was connected to the Mormon. I don't know if she was a servant for the Mormon, but she was connected to that faith. Her name was Biddy Mason, right? They own all that land in Los Angeles. It's a lot of stuff they don't tell us, man. You know, we in a Aquarius season, right? This is the age of Aquarius, of Aquarius, and we in the Aquarius nation. We are in the season of exposure, and transparency. Like bust down, Badiana. Bust down, Badiana. Bust down. See, they see, people don't understand. When they went after Trump, that mean they go after anybody. Yeah, it mean President Biden included. Everybody's gonna get exposed in this season of Aquarius. It's that time for exposure and for transparency, real exposure, real transparency. It's time now. Nobody's safe. Nobody. It's time to pay the piper. I'm sorry to hear that, Cinnamon Sunshine. Well, you know what? Everybody's a game. Everybody's a game. You know, Al Capone's birthday was January the 17th. And people tell me how much of a gangster he was. He was playing the game, man, because everybody's a gangster. Everybody's in the game. Gang, right? So, I mean, it's a gangster nation, man. Yes, Gail, Sister Gail, we love you madly. It's good to see you, good sister from North Kakalaki. Always a pleasure. And thank you for the support and for your commentary and insight to some of these shows I've been doing. I want to give you a proper shout out. Appreciate you for tuning in or tuning out to tune in again when you fit in. I mean, that's the society, it's the culture. Cause like when you go to a fast food, like if I go, you look at Chick-fil-A, right? Chick-fil-A, the employees, they're respectable for the most part. The food is decent. I look at management. When I go to Popeyes, I look at dysfunction. I'm looking at management. I don't care how good the food is. If you disrespected me, it ain't gonna taste right going down my throat. It's not gonna taste right. Man, they stole. Hey, like I said, she's a police chief, right? They broke into her car twice and stole her gun twice. It's like Barney Fife or something like Mayberry police force. I don't know what's going on. Keystone cops, like they stealing police, they breaking in police cars like and stealing their guns. The police chief, and then you got folks posing as police robbing people. Man, it's the wild, wild west out here. It is. It's the wild, wild west, no doubt. Thank you, brother Derek. Love you madly. Thank you, Letty Techniques. We love you madly. Okay. I'm about to get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all so much. Well, Memphis, about Memphis. I know you said Memphis ain't wild. Okay. Think about Memphis is though. It's not when you let the inmates run the asylum, this is what you get. Like not only in Memphis, but in education or miseducation. When you allow, a lot of things have been going unchecked. Memphis is a great place. There's a lot of great history. The brand is a very viable brand. There's a lot of great things about Memphis. I love Memphis. Same time, Memphis ain't gonna love you back a lot of times. And what Memphis do, it get you prepared to go out to the world and do your thing. Memphis is an incubator for great talent, for great ideas, but they gotta get exposure beyond Memphis in order to be successful. It's hard to be successful in Memphis because Memphis is hate is a form of love. Y'all know hate is not the opposite of love. Indifference is the opposite of love. Hate is a form of love. And people love to hate on you in this town. And you should use that as a way to grow your aspirations, to grow your ambitions, to power or fuel your will to do exceptional things. So it's a blessing to be from this town. At the same time, things ain't going to change until you want to make that change. Like, I wouldn't mind running for mayor myself, but I'm not going to run for mayor because I don't believe in symbolic victories in politics. You got to get some money behind me. I got to get me a good team. Because I don't care if I only have one term. I would do as much as I can to change things, to raise some hell. I don't really care because I never made no money. I ain't got no kitty cat right now. I ain't got no prospects that I'm looking at. I don't have nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose, and I have all to gain. So that's how I feel. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning out to tune in to get in where you fit in, man. So we're about to shut this down. Don't forget Larry Payne, justice for Larry Payne, just us for Larry Payne a lot of time, but justice nonetheless. I'm about to read the disclaimer. Also, y'all can check out the Teespring page. I got my shelf working again. I think it's working down below. Check that out. Got some t-shirts on sale, man. Support the movement, man. You dig it, man? I feel it, man. Can you feel me? Feel me? Y'all feel me, man? Disclaimer. The views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support, and thank you all once again. In the words of the immortal Duke Ellington, we love you madly. In the words of Brother Ron, keep on producing and pushing. One love. See how it works?